Hi guys, Ella Bates here, your learning expert, to talk about our reading club. What is a reading club? It means you don't have to buy the book. I bought it for you. Well, actually, that's not true. I got it from the library. I don't know why I said that to you. We are currently reading Jack Canfields' The Success Principles. It's a book that's been going around for a long time. And for those that know me, I've been teaching leadership for 22 years now. And I decided a massive part of leadership is when you are continuously improving and walking that talk. So what better way than to assess people with some self-leadership talk. And today's a really, really hot topic. It is commit to constant and never-ending improvement. We are on principle 20. Can you believe that? We've got a couple of people on here live. Please drop a hello in the comments. Tell me what you think, what your thoughts are. I can't talk today. Terrible. We have an innate desire to endlessly learn, grow, and develop. We want to become more than what we already are. Once we yield to this inclination for continuous and never-ending improvement, we lead a life of endless accomplishments and satisfaction. So true. I really love that. People call me a perfectionist, but I'm not. I'm a rightist. I do something until it's right, and then I move on to the next thing. That's what James Cameron said. For those that don't know who James Cameron is, he was the producer and director, I believe, for Titanic. Oh, what's going on here with my headphones? Very weird. Anyway. Let's tell you what Jack Canfield has to say, and then I'm going to give my own thoughts on this, and I would love to hear your thoughts too in the comments. If you are watching live, please say hi, otherwise #replay. In Japan, the word for constant and never-ending improvement is Kaizen. Not only is this an operating philosophy for modern Japanese businesses, it's also the age-old philosophy of warriors too, and it's become the personal mantra of millions of successful people. Achievers, whether business, sports, or arts, personally, are committed to continual improvement. And if you want to be successful, you need to ask yourself, how can I make this better? What can I do to make it more efficient? How can I be more profitable? How can we do this with greater love, for example? And all the learning is all in the questions that you ask yourself. I just had that very conversation with someone earlier this morning. So you have to ask yourself the right questions. The mind-numbing pace of change. Oh my goodness. If you're watching this live, it's during COVID-19 and change came at us, woo, like a tornado, woohoo! And we had to be really all of a sudden very, very agile. And if you do not have a growth culture, growth mindset, but if you don't have a growth culture in your organization, you don't have a growth mindset, lots of things really changed for you. But let's talk about that. He says that in today's world, a certain amount of improvement is necessary just to keep up with the rapid pace of change. And for those that have grown up kind of the 80s, 90s way, you'll notice that technology is just, I specifically remember watching an advertisement on a program in the UK on the BBC called Tomorrow's World. And it said, and it had like this enactment kind of thing. And it said, you're going to be able to hold a device. And it was this big that you're going to be able to play movies on, whether you're commuting to work or anything. And I went, that is a big load of beep, 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 beep. There's no way that's going to happen. Who's going to want to do that? Boo! Within 10 years, look what we're able to do. Just crazy. New manufacturing techniques are discovered more often. New words come into use anytime as a fad or a trend catches on. And what we learn about ourselves, our health, and our capacity for human thought continues almost unabated. And I'm sure for those people who are watching live or remember during COVID-19, if you're watching this as a replay, I'm sure the learning that you are doing about yourself is immense right now. I'm sure you're looking at the capacity to be really resourceful, whether that's for food. I've mentioned on some previous episodes before now, I've got to be really creative. I've thought, well, I'm missing one ingredient. Usually I go, oh, can't do that recipe. Now I'm like, what can I put in here as an alternative? We're becoming really resourceful, and it's enabling us to be very creative with our thoughts and our critical thinking, which is super cool. Jack says that you should improve in small increments, whether you set out to improve your skills, change your behavior, or better your family life, your business. Beginning in small, manageable steps gives you a greater chance of long-term success. Doing too much too fast not only overwhelms you or anyone else who's involved in the improvement, it can doom the effort to failure, thereby reinforcing the belief that it's difficult or impossible to succeed. When you start with very small, achievable steps you can easily master, it reinforces your belief that you can easily improve. And for those that follow me, you know that I always say, if you want to make changes, make a change right now. Do one small thing right now, one small thing today, one small thing this week, one small thing this month. Just get momentum. Just start where you are. Make a decision and take some action of some kind. If you decide to learn a language, go right now and, ask Siri or Alexa or Google or whoever it is, our robotic butlers. Who would have thought we had that, right? Or information. Oh my God, robot information people who have names. This is ridiculous. Whoever thought this was going to be happening for us, right? Super, super cool. But ask them, how do you say hello in this language? And before you know it, you've already started to learn the language. Then you'll start to use it. Then you'll start to remember it and you gain momentum. So definitely go for that. It says decide what to improve on. Now, this is quite an art form as well. At work, your goal might be your company to improve the quality of your product or your service, for example. Professionally, you might want to improve your computer skills, your typing skills. At home, you might want to improve your parenting skills, communication. Is it really learning a new skill, or perhaps it is, in fact, just improving your lifestyle? Now, if you were on episodes 1 to 5, you'll know we talked a little bit about the life wheel. And if you would like a copy of the life wheel, just email me, ella@ellabates.com, and I'll send it to you. And it's really cool. It's just literally a wheel with 8 different sections like health, finances, career, spiritual, family, friendships, love, all that kind of thing, all these good things, right? And you look at the wheel and you score yourself and you shade it in. It's really, really good to be creative. You shade it into where you are, where you believe you are, a happiness level in that particular area. So let's say for your health, you've been eating some garbagey food and a bit more chocolate than you thought you should be doing during this time. You would rate it as a 5 instead of a 10. And then what you do is you go through all the areas and then you say, okay, so we can see that there's 2 or 3 areas for me to improve on. Which one's going to have the better impact? Which one's going to have the best impact on me and those surrounding me? And you would take that area and that's where you would focus on as a priority. So it's a really good exercise. If you'd like that, you can request that from me, email me, ella@ellabates.com. One thing I do want to share from you, from Jack, before we close on a couple of things I have to talk about is it talks about the margin of greatness. In the sport of professional baseball, most respectable players have an average of 0.25 or 1 hit for every 4 times they come to bat. If a 250 hit batter is also a good fielder, he can expect to do well in the majors. But anyone who hits 300 or 3 hits for every 10 times he comes to bat, they're considered a star. By the end of a season, out of the thousands of players in the leagues, only about a dozen players will have achieved a 300 average. Those hitters are honored as the greatest players, receive the multi-million-dollar player contracts, and land the lucrative commercial endorsements. But consider this. The difference between the truly great ones and the average player is only 1 hit out of 20. A player who has 250 gets 5 hits in every 20 times at bat, but a 300 batter gets 6 hits out of the same 20 times at bat. Isn't that amazing? In a world of professional baseball, the margin of greatness is only 1 more hit out of 20. It only takes a little extra bit of performance to go from good to great. I want to give you another example of that. This is a classic Tony Robbins quote here, but he talks about golf. For anyone that plays golf, you know that if you just move a millimeter, it's going to make all the difference to your swing to where the ball's going to go, right? It's called the 1 millimeter move, 1 millimeter change. If you were to just take 1 millimeter and make just the slightest change in your life, how would it impact you, right? That might be, if you're learning a language, saying hello to someone in their customary language might make all the difference in customer service. It might make the difference in a friendship that you make. It might make a difference on how you feel on the inside and giving it to your community. Like, how cool is that? So I do invite you to take a look at the kind of things that you would want to learn. I want to talk a little bit about this particular one because I am a learning professional, so it makes sense for me to talk about this and share my thoughts with you. So I want to know, has anyone read any of Malcolm Gladwell's books? He's predominantly he was a journalist, become a bit more of a mainstream sociologist, psychologist, if you like. Looks at social experiments, does lots of research. It's really, really quite interesting. But he wrote a book called Outliers. I'll put it here in the comments for you. Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. There's a few really great TED Talks that he's done. He's been on talk radio as well. But check it out. But anyway, the book Outliers is all about what makes people go from the average Joe good to just greatness, to mastery. And he looks specifically at people like Bill Gates and the Beatles, because did Bill Gates have more opportunities than anyone else? Did the Beatles have more opportunities or even more skill than anyone else? And there was lots of deciding factors in his book, but what he said was a massive deciding factor was the amount of hours that they practiced, the amount of hours that they took to get mastery. I mean, Tony Robbins, again, I should work for Tony Robbins. I'm in no way affiliated with him, but I don't know him personally, although I wish I did. Tony Robbins says, the mother of all mastery is practice, right? Today at lunchtime, there's no word of a lie, this really happened today, was I taught my kid to ride a bike, yay, off the stabilizers. You don't call them stabilizers here, you call them something else. But you know, the little tiny wheels, training wheels, that's what you call them. Okay, so straight away he did it a couple of times, then he fell and he said, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. And I said, do you want to be like Lily, his sister? Do you want to be like Lily and go really, really fast? He's like, yeah. Do you want to be able to go up and down hills safely? Yeah. Do you want to be able to go to the trailer park and be able to do this and do this? He's like, yeah. The only way you're going to do that is by practicing and practicing and practicing. And he's like, yeah. So in a hard lesson for him, and you know what? I put the elbow pads on, protect him, mummy. Elbow pads and the knee pads on him, and so also the gloves as well, so he didn't hurt his hands. Because that first fall off a bag is horrible. Do you remember that? Anyway. So there he goes, he's falling off a bike. But anyway, Outliers, the book he talks about, and he says the actual calculation of the amount of hours where you need to get to actual mastery is 10,000 hours. That's a lot. 10,000 hours. But if you look at, people who are Olympic swimmers, if you look at people who've won major awards or do something quite brilliant, great violinists and things like that, for example, they are really quite spectacular because of the amount of practice that they've had. So do consider that. But I want you to also consider a couple of other variables. I've written them down here just to remind myself. There's some other variables to success being how much ambition do you have? How much drive and momentum do you have during those practice hours? Or are you like, on your violin? Or are you like, oh, I'm going to be the best that I can be and really, really focused during that time, right? There is how smart you are, the actual knowledge of the actual skill that you need. How hard are you willing to work? There's a great mapping in learning that says it's anything, to be able to teach anyone anything, new attitude, new behavior, new skill, anything like that, you have to look at their ability, their skill, and their will. Their ability to be able to do it. Like, is this actually realistic? So, for example, if you're trying to teach somebody to lift a 15-pound weight, but they are quite weak as a person, you can't teach them how to do it. Their current skills, have they lifted before? Do they understand their bending from the knees? How are we going to have to teach them that? But more importantly, the will. What is driving them to want to learn that particular thing? So I totally invite you to have a look at that or think about that, ability, skill, will. And also, here's the defining thing. And whenever I go and teach organizations, I always say, what is the support? What community do they have around them in order to support this new change? So it's great if somebody goes into a classroom, learns something, they're like, wow, that was awesome, or a conference, or listen to a webinar, and that was really, really great. And you come out and they try and practice it, and people are like, oh, we don't have time to practice here, or, I can't support you because I wasn't in the training, or, like, get this done quick, and I got the knowledge, let's go, let's go, let's go. Are you scheduling time to practice? Are you scheduling time to reflect on the practice? What went great? What do I need to practice on next time, right? There's so many different deciding factors. However, Outliers is a great book, and it tells you essentially how to go from good to great. I'm sorry, my phone is just going bing, bong, bing. It's the kids' school. We're doing our best, schools. For those at homeschooling, yay Oz. Not something I'd necessarily want to continue. And if you're a teacher out there, thank you so much for your service, because you guys are amazing. But anyway, in continuous improvement is a hot topic for me. As you know, I would love for you to join me on a group that I have called Time to Grow, that talks about how to continuously improve, how to learn, what to learn, that kind of thing. You need to simply look at ellabates.com, if I can spell it properly, ellabates.com/time to grow. I would love you all to join us there. Anyway, that is today's principle. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We are on Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We're a bit late today because of kids' snacks and so on and so forth, but we're all being very agile and very compassionate right now. So I wish you a wonderful day and happy self-leadership. Take care, guys.